Hello friends, over the years the gaming industry has produced countless iconic games what have won the hearts of millions worldwide. Today, as you might guess from the title, we go in to talk about these games, but from a different perspective. They've already been praised to no end, so now it's time to be a bit more critical. We're ready for your dislikes and angry comments, but we can't help sharing which iconic games we didn't enjoy and why. When thinking about iconic games, the first one what comes to mind is Elden Ring, which is currently trending with its newly released DLC. I understand what it's a well-crafted game and deserves its iconic status, but it's simply not for me. The issue isn't its difficulty. I actually enjoy challenging games, but it's gameplay. To be fair, this is a problem I have with all Souls-like games. Their gameplay feels too sluggish and repetitive to me. Boss fights involve constant parrying and dodging, waiting for a small window to attack. For me, games like Doom Eternal or Devil May Cry 5 are more appealing. They offer high difficulty levels but also feature incredibly dynamic gameplay with diverse combos and a wide range of abilities. But let's move on. Another reason I don't like Elden Ring is its lack of a coherent storyline. Sure, this is a story, but as fans have pointed out, the main challenge in From Software games is piecing together the narrative. Many people enjoy this approach, but unfortunately I'm not one of them. For me, the story is crucial in RPGs because it immerses me in the world, motivates me to explore, level up and find secrets and Easter eggs. Elden Ring didn't succeed in this regard for me. Speaking of storylines, we can't ignore Sony, known for its narrative-driven games. Initially, I wanted to focus on one specific game, but I realized what my points apply to almost all of their titles. To me, Sony games are just a collection of beautiful textures and set pieces. Their stories are overly simplistic and linear, characters are flat and poorly written, the gameplay recycled from one game to another remains simple and casual. Addressing potential comments about increasing difficulty. Raising the difficulty level only changes enemy HP and damage. That's it. I understand what these games are designed for a bored audience, given their massive budgets. However, I can't understand why they don't allocate more resources to gameplay and story development, instead of just visuals and animations. Games should be enjoyable to play, with players having a direct impact on the fictional world. Sony's games feel more like Hollywood blockbusters than interactive experiences. Again, I get that there's a huge demand for such products, but they don't interest me. If I want blockbuster, I'll watch a movie. In a game I want to play. I don't know if anyone will stick around after what I've said so far, but I don't plan to tone things down. Only the most resilient will make it to the end. The next iconic game what didn't click with me is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This includes its sequel Tears of the Kingdom. I understand why it's so popular and why it has so many fans. I've tried several times to get into it. The last time I lasted 20 hours before dropping it again. The issue isn't the gameplay mechanics, they're well designed. The problem is what it takes about 50 hours to full enjoy the game. Until then, it's just grind, grind and more grind. As I mentioned earlier, the gameplay mechanics are good. Combat, world interaction, puzzles and the visuals are all excellent. However, the long time it takes to get into the game prevented me from truly enjoying it, despite my efforts. And don't get me started on Nintendo's policy. If you want to play just one of their games, you need to buy the console, which I found ridiculous. I generally dislike the idea of exclusives, but that's a topic for another video. Although it doesn't directly relate to Zelda, it does leave a bitter taste. Next, I want to talk about a recently hyped game, Manor Lords. I've always loved city building strategies, so when I saw the announcement, I immediately added it to my wishlist and bought it as soon as it entered early access. I'm not sure if it's because it's still in early access or because my expectations were too high, but I'm currently disappointed with the game. It's not badly made, but it doesn't stand out from its peers and is currently lacking in the content. The unique feature of switching to a third-person perspective is just a walking simulator with walkout models. Again, I know it's in early access, but given what it's made by one person, who knows when it will be completed or if it ever will be. The game is worth attention, but not as much as it has received, as it's still too raw. To warp things up, let's get to the real controversy. I don't like competitive service games like Dota 2, Counter-Strike, Valorant, Fortnite, PUBG, and the like. Moreover, I believe they're detrimental to the gaming industry. I say this from experience, having spent hundreds of hours on them. The most pointless waste of time in my life. First, the gameplay is always repetitive, within the same game. In Counter-Strike, you buy weapons, go to the plant, shoot, and the round ends. When you do it again. This happens in every game of this genre. Instead of updates, they could add variety. Developers usually release Battle Pass updates, new skins, and our stuff to scam you out of money. Partly the blame lies with the players. When a horse skin in Warcraft made more money than StarCraft 2 sales, it was clear where companies would head. Demand creates supply. It frustrates me to see so many service games because it means resources what could be used to create truly interesting game are spent on making another Fortnite or Overwatch. If you watched this far, you're still sane and capable of rational thought. So I invite you to the comments to share your list of iconic games you personally didn't like. Let's keep the discussion fiery. Jokes aside, I just wanted to share my thoughts on some popular games. The internet is great for what. I know this video is quite provocative, but I hope you found it interesting. See you next time.